I am Aligar Lingappa, Assistant Professor, Government First College, Siruguppa. Today's my chapter is Mechanical Properties of Materials. Now I will discuss about the property so-called elasticity. Previous class we have discussed about the property so-called mechanical property strength. So now we have discussed about the property so-called elasticity. We know that in our nature, the matter which can be classified into three types: liquid state of matter, gaseous state of matter, and a solid state of matter. So further, solids they can be classified into three types: rigid bodies, elastic bodies, and plastic bodies. Then what are rigid bodies? What are elastic bodies? What are plastic bodies? So rigid bodies are those which do not deform, do not change their size and shape under the action of an external forces, an external force. Say a rock, some of the iron, they are the examples for rigid bodies. Here elastic bodies means the bodies which deform under the action of the external forces. They can change their shape and size, but they regain their original shape and size after the removal of the applied external forces. So rubber, steel, spring, they are the examples for elastic bodies. So what are plastic bodies? So plastic bodies are those which they can change their shape and size under the action of the external forces, but they do not regain their original shape and size after the removal of the applied external force. So-called plastics or say polymers, they are the examples for plastics. So now we have discussed about what are the mechanical properties of a material. So to finalize the material for an engineering product or applications, it is important to understand the mechanical properties of the material. The mechanical properties of a material are those which affect the mechanical strength and ability of a material to be molded in suitable shape. Some of the typical mechanical properties they are given below, that is in the next slide. So for engineering products or engineering applications, where they need different materials for various purposes. So they need the materials, the properties of materials. They need important to understand the mechanical properties of materials. So based on those mechanical properties, the engineers they can decide which material is suitable for which applications? So-called the study of mechanical properties of a material, which is very important for an engineering product or applications. So what are mechanical properties? Here given some of the mechanical properties. Say strength, toughness, hardness, durability, brittleness, malleability, ductility, creep and slip, resilience, fatigue. So previous class we discussed the mechanical properties such as strength. But today, now in this class, we discuss about elasticity. What is elasticity? Then what are the different types of elasticity? Then the examples for elasticity. How they can be used for various purposes, so-called elastic materials, how they can be used. If the distance between any 2 points in a body remains invariable, the body is said to be a rigid body. In practice, it is not possible to have a perfectly rigid body. So that means in our nature, no body is perfectly rigid body, no body is perfectly plastic body, no body is perfectly elastic body. The deformations are, there may be change in length, there is a change of volume but no change in shape, there is a change in shape with no change in volume. That means the body which undergoes the multiple changes. All bodies get deformed under the action of force. The size and shape of the body will change on applications of force. There is a tendency of body to recover its original size and shape on removal of this force, so-called elasticity. So the property of a body, by virtue of which recover its original shape and size and shape on the removal of the applied external forces, so-called the property of elasticity. So the property of a material body to regain its original condition on the removal of deforming forces is called elasticity. Quartz fiber is considered to be the perfectly elastic body. So what is plasticity? The bodies which do not show any tendency to recover their original condition on the removal of the deforming forces called plasticity. It is considered to be the perfectly plastic body. The load is the combination of external forces acting on a body, and its effect is to change the form or the dimensions of the body. Any kind of deforming forces is known as load. When a body is subjected to a force or a system of forces, it undergoes a change in size or shape or both. The elastic bodies offer appreciable resistances to the deforming forces. As a result, work has to be done to deform them. This amount of work is stored in a body as elastic potential energy. when the deforming force is removed, its increased elastic potential energy produced a tendency in the body to restore the body to its original state of zero energy or stable equilibrium. So this tendency is due to the internal force which come into play by the deformation. When the external forces, if they are acting on the body, maybe the body which undergoes a change in size or shape or both. So, whereas the elastic bodies which offer the appreciable resistance to the deforming forces, as a result, say work has to be done against the deforming forces. This amount of work done in an elastic body is stored as the elastic potential energy. When the deforming forces, if they are removed, with the help of this elastic potential energy, the body which regain its original shape and size, so called the elastic property of the material. Then what is stress? When a force is applied on a body, there will be a relative displacement of the particles, no doubt. And when the external forces, if they are acting on the body, then automatically the particles, so called there must be a relative displacement of the particles inside the body. Due to the property of elasticity, the particles tend to regain their original positions. The restoring or a recovering force per unit area set up inside the body is called a stress. So the basic definition of stress is the restoring force generated inside the body per unit area. So usually the stress which can be measured in terms of external forces acting on the body. The stress is measured in terms of the load or the force applied per unit area. Hence its unit or dynes per centimeter square in Celsius and Newton meter square in Yankee system. There are two types of stresses. Normal stress, tangential or shearing stress, or maybe linear stress. A linear stress means where the external force which are acting along the length of the body. Here normal stress means restoring force per unit area perpendicular to the surface is called normal stress. So what about the tangential or shearing stress? A restoring force per unit area parallel to the surface is called tangential or shearing stress. What about the linear stress or longitudinal stress? The restoring force per unit area along the length of a body, so called linear stress or tensile stress or longitudinal stress. So called we have different types of stress. So what is strain? It is a ratio of change in dimension to the original dimension. The unit change produced in the dimensions of a body and a system of forces in equilibrium is called strain. The strain being a ratio, it has no unit. There are following three types of strains. Longitudinal or linear strain. It is defined as the increase in length per unit original length of an object. When the it is deformed by the external forces. So the ratio of change in length to the original length is called a tangential longitudinal or elongation strain. Longitudinal or elongation strain. So longitudinal or linear strain, which is equal to a change in length by original length. It is also called elongation strain or a tensile strain, which has no unit. Then volume strain. It is defined as change in volume per unit original volume within an object is deformed by the external force. The ratio of change in volume to the original volume is called volume strain. Volume strain is equal to change in volume by original volume. Then a shear strain. When the force applied is acting parallel to the surface of the body, then change takes place only in the shape of the body. The corresponding strain is called shear strain. The angular deformation produced by an external force is called shear strain. So characteristics of a perfectly elastic material. If a body is perfectly elastic, then strain is always same for a given stress. Strain vanishes completely when the deforming force is removed. For maintaining the strain, the stress is constant. So strain is always same for a given stress. Strain vanishes completely when the deforming force is removed. For maintaining the strain, the stress is constant. Then what about Hooke's law? There's a fundamental law of elasticity was proposed by Robert Hooke in 1679, and it states that provided the strain is small, the stress is directly proportional to the strain. That means within the elastic limit, the stress is directly proportional to strain. In other words, the ratio of stress to strain is a constant quantity for the given material and is called the modulus of elasticity or coefficient of elasticity. So stress is directly proportional to strain within the elastic limit. The stress is equal to E into strain, then E is equal to stress by strain, where E is a proportionality constant, is known as modulus of elasticity or coefficient of elasticity. The units and the dimensions of the modulus of elasticity are the same as that of stress, so-called Newton per meter square is the unit of the modulus of elasticity or coefficient of elasticity. So now you see the stress strain diagram. Here as stress increases, so strain is also increases. Then it can reach the maximum value up to the point A. Up to the point A, there is a linear relation between stress and strain, so-called elastic range. Beyond that point A, where the body which loses its property, so-called point A is known as elastic limit. Then behind point D, body which loses its elastic property, so which converts from elastic body to plastic body, so where the body which exhibit the property of plasticity, where which do not regain its original shape and size, so called a plastic range. If we again increase the stress, say at point E, where point E is called the point of fraction, where the body which breaks up, so called, this is what about a stress strain diagram. Elastic limit, when the stress is continuously increased in the case of solid, A point is reached at which the strain increased more rapidly. The stress at which the linear relationship between a stress and strain holds good is called elastic limit of the material. Elastic limit means it is a limit up to which stress is directly proportional to strain. Under that condition, the body regains its original shape and size. So, under that condition, where the body which obeys Hooke's law. So, what we say in the above diagram, say a stress strain diagram, the direct proportionality between stress and strain is found to be true only for small values of strain as shown in the above diagram. Second point, the portion OA of the curve is a straight line showing that a stress is directly proportional to strain. It shows that Hooke's law is strictly obeyed up to the value of stress corresponding to point A. This point is called elastic limit. Elastic limit. So behind that point A, behind elastic limit, the curve is not a straight line. In this region AB, the strain increases more rapidly than the stress, and the behavior is partly elastic and partly plastic. If the object is unloaded at B, it does not come back to its original condition along path AO, but takes the dotted path BC. What we seen in the above diagram, the dotted path BC. If suppose object is unloaded at point B, if it exhibits perfectly elasticity, it should follow the path AO, but which do not come back to its original condition along path AO, but which takes the dotted path BC. The object is said to have acquired a permanent set. The object is said to have acquired a permanent change. And OC is called the residual strain. So behind point A, behind the elastic limit, the curve is not a straight line. In this region AB, the strain increases more rapidly than stress, and the behavior is partly elastic and partly plastic. If the object is unloaded B, it does not come back to its original condition along with AO, but which takes the path BC. The object is said to have acquired permanent change, and OC is called a residual strain. So behind the point F, the graph indicates the length of the wire increases even if the wire is unloaded. The wire breaks ultimately at point E, called the breaking point of wire. The portion of the graph between D and E is called the plastic region, where the body which exhibits the property of plasticity, so called, which do not regain its original shape and size. At point E, so the body which breaks up, the wire breaks ultimately at a point E, where a point E is called breaking point of the wire. So called summary of the graph, what we saw in the previous slide. Three types of elasticity. We have three types of elasticity. So there are three types of strain. Therefore, we have three types of elasticity. Linear elasticity called Young's modulus corresponding to linear strain. Elasticity of volume or bulk modulus corresponding to volume strain. Elasticity of shape or shear modulus or modulus of rigidity corresponding to shear strain. So called, we have three types of elasticity. So now let us discuss about what is Young's modulus. When the deforming force is applied to the body only along a particular direction, the change per unit length in that direction is called a longitudinal or linear or elongation strain. The force applied per unit area of cross section is called longitudinal or linear stress. The ratio of longitudinal stress to linear strain within the elastic limit is called Young's modulus. Usually the Young's modulus, which can be represented by the letter y is equal to longitudinal stress by linear strain, linear stress by linear strain, tensile stress by a linear strain. Consider a wire of length L having area of cross section A fixed at one end and loaded at the other end. Suppose that a normal force F is applied to the free end of the wire and its length increases by L, say small n. So then longitudinal stress which is equal to Fia, linear stress L by L, change in length by original length, then substituting in the above equation, then we will get y is equal to Fia by L, then y is equal to F L by AL. Young's modulus can also be defined as the force applied to a wire of unit length and unit cross-sectional area to produce the increase in length by unity. Second, the units of Young's modulus are Pascal or Newton per meter square in MK system and Dyne per centimeter square in the CG system, so called the units of Young's modulus. So now let us discuss about bulk modulus. It is defined as the ratio of normal stress to the volume strain. So usually the bulk modulus, which can be represented by the letter K. The bulk modulus is also known as the coefficient of cubical elasticity. So bulk modulus, which is equal to the ratio of normal stress by volume stress. K is equal to normal stress by volume stress, normal stress by volume strain. Consider a cubic of volume V and a surface area A. Suppose that a force F which acts uniformly over the whole surface of the cubic produces a decrease in its volume by V. Then normal stress, which is equal to Fa, force per unit area, and volume strain, which is equal to V by V, change in volume by original volume. Then further, bulk modulus K is equal to Fa by V by V. Then K is equal to F V by AV. Then the units of bulk modulus are Pascal or Newton per meter square in SI system. Compressibility, the reciprocal of the bulk modulus of a material is called a compressibility, that is 1 by K. So now let us discuss about the modulus of rigidity. Say rigidity modulus. It is defined as the ratio of tangential stress to shear strain. It is also called a shear modulus. It is denoted by N. N is equal to a tangential stress by shear strain. Consider a rectangular block whose lower face ADCC is fixed and the upper face ABBD is subjected to tangential force F. So now you see the rectangular block. There are of 6 faces whose lower face ADCC which is fixed to the rigid support, and the upper face ABBD is subject to the tangential force. That means the applied external force is tangential to the surface ABBD. So let A be the area of the each face, and AD is equal to L with the perpendicular distance between them. The tangential force will displace the upper face of a parallelepiped by a distance AA dash is equal to L. If the angle ADA dash is equal to theta, then theta is the angle of shear. If the angle AD A dash, so if it is equal to theta, that means say where angle is angle of shear, then the tangential stress, the force per unit area, tangential force per unit area, FA, and shear strain which is equal to theta is also called as angle of shear. Then N is equal to F by A theta. So this is the expression for a rigidity modulus. The units of rigidity modulus are a Pascal or Newton per meter square in a SI system. So in this class we discussed about different types of matter, different states of matter, types of solids, mechanical properties of solids, then the list of mechanical properties, then elasticity, then elastic bodies, then stress, different types of stress, strain, different types of strain, stress strain diagram, then the summary of a stress strain diagram, then Young's modulus, rigidity modulus, bulk modulus, and their expressions, their units, and so on. Thank you.